Okay, the next one we're going to look at then is powers and roots. Okay, powers and roots, similar to indices, where we've got square roots, squares, cubes, and multiples like that. So here we're going to look first at square numbers. So here I've got 1 square, and this is written like so. And that is telling us that we've got 1 squared. So that is effectively 1 times 1, which equals 1. Here I've got 2 square. So that's 2 times 2. So 2 squared, 2 times 2 equals 4. Here I've got 3 by 3. So this is 3 squared. So that's 3 times 3, which equals 9. And we continue on like that. Okay? As a rule, we should probably learn the first 12 square numbers. The opposite of square then is something called square root, and that is denoted by this sign here. Okay? Sometimes in an exam paper or on a computer it's just that, okay? But it's usually denoted by this in most exam papers. If I was to take the number 1 and do that as 1 square, what I'm saying is what times what equals 1. So we already know then that 1 times 1 equals 1. A clearer example would be, what would be the square root of 49? So what times what makes 49? So the same number times by itself to make 49. Well, that again would be 7. So when you've learnt the first 12 square numbers, learn the square root, i.e. the opposite of what those square numbers are. So 10 times 10 is 100. Square root of 100 is 10. Moving on then, we're going to look at something now called cube root. So we're going to have a look at cube root. Let's start off with the number 1. So 1 cubed is the same as saying 1 times by 1 times by 1. Well, 1 times 1 is 1, times by 1 equals 1. If we look at 2 cubed now then, I've got 2 times by 2 times by 2. So this number here, the indice, tells us how many times we're going to multiply each value of the same number. So if that was 2 to the power 5, that would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. In this case then we've got 2 to the power 3 cube root. 2 times 2 is 4, times by 2 gives me 8. To have a look at another one then, let's look at 10 cubed. So I've got 10 times by 10 times by 10. So 10 times 10 is 100, times by 10 is 1,000. The opposite of cube root then is denoted by this. If I've got 1,000, what times what makes 1,000. Okay, we already know then that that is 10. If I had what is the cube root of 27? What times what makes 27? I know that 3 times 3 is 9, times by 3 equals 27. So therefore the cube root of 27 equals 3.